This is FanStream Sports.
What is up, Dallas Cowboys fans? It's girlfriend IndyCar Tim here with another Dallas Cowboys Daily Blitz podcast live 7 a.m. Monday morning. Good morning to you. Welcome into the show. Welcome into the network. If you're watching this on YouTube, got something a little different we're experimenting with the background here. I don't have my green screen up, so it's not perfect. But you guys let me know kind of what you think of the background. I've got a couple of other ones that we had generated for us that I'm looking at. But you guys let me know if it looks fruity or whatever. I haven't really decided yet, to be honest with you. If you're listening to the recorded podcast and you would like to partake in the show, 214-937-0569. That is the FanStream Sports Studio text line. Hopefully sponsorship coming soon. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But lots to get into this week. We will be talking heavily, I'm sure, about OTAs and the upcoming mandatory minicamp. And that's sort of the subject for today. And we're going to make George Pickens the headline again because, you know, even somehow with his 2026 status already settled, I feel like he's going to be the headline for the offseason, his future for sure. And that's the Dallas Cowboys for you, to be honest. The drama doesn't need to be a contract dispute. It doesn't need to be a trade rumor. Sometimes all it needs is your star wide receiver not showing up to voluntary OTAs in one head coach quote with a big date sitting on the calendar like it's a big warning sign. That date is June 16th. Mandatory minicamp. And that's when the conversation will change. Because as of right now, George Pickens not being at OTAs is not a crisis. We'll be honest and we'll be fair. These workouts are voluntary. And I'll be real honest, I don't know why they still have voluntary workouts. If you want them to be there, make them mandatory. I know why they have them. Don't come at me. You don't need to tweet me. You don't need to whatever me. It's part of the CBA. I get it. But all it does for every team every year is create drama and headlines and crap when someone doesn't show up. So, I mean, I get it, but seems like, look, if you want guys there, make all this mandatory. If you don't want them there, keep doing what you're doing. But these dates, these workouts are voluntary. Nobody's breaking any rules. The sky is not falling because a veteran wide receiver has not shown up to his team's voluntary minicamp in year 2 of his existence with the team. But let's also not play dumb. This is Dallas. This is a new season. This is a Cowboys offense trying to build something and build something real with Dak Prescott, with CeeDee Lamb, and with George Pickens. And when Dak is there and CD is there and George isn't, people are going to ask questions. And they should. They absolutely should, because Pickens is not just some random wide receiver trying to make the roster. He is supposed to be a major piece of the offense. He's supposed to help unlock this passing game like he did last year. He's supposed to give Dak another dangerous weapon opposite CeeDee Lamb that scares defenses vertically and supposed to make this another top 5 offense. That chemistry does not build itself. I know it kind of looked like it did last year because we didn't see a lot of the work that CD or that George Pickens and Dak put in behind the scenes. And trust me, they put in a ton of work to build the chemistry that they had. That becomes rusty when you don't practice it, when you're not together, when you're not building reps together. And all of that matters. There hasn't been any noise here. There hasn't been cryptic social media nonsense from the player. There hasn't been a public feud between players or the player and a coach or some weird passive-aggressive offseason circus that sometimes we get here in Dallas. And for George Pickens, that radio silence might actually be a good thing. But that radio silence can only buy you so much time when you play for the Cowboys. Eventually, you have to walk into the building. Eventually, your teammates have to see you. And that's where Brian Schottenheimer's quote gets interesting. He did not blast George Pickens. He did not single him out like some old school coach trying to make a point, trying to make an example of a player through the media. But he did say something that applies here. How do you prove your teammates, to your teammates, that you're doing everything in your power to be the best version of yourself on this team if they don't see you doing it? That's the conversation. Because one thing for Pickens is, if he's off training somewhere else, that's one thing. And it's another thing even for people around him to say that he's locked in. He's putting in all the work. He's doing all the stuff he's supposed to be doing. I get it. And it's even another thing for everyone to be assuming and trusting that he's doing all of that work. But football is a trust business, especially between teammates. Your quarterback has to trust your timing. Your receivers have to trust your presence. Your coaches have to trust your preparation. Your teammates need to trust that you are in on this thing and that you are invested as much as they are. And that trust hits different when you're physically in the building by their sides. Again, we're not going into full panic mode here. Pickens could show up here in a couple of days and, and be the sharp, focused wide receiver that we think he is. He could catch 2 deep balls from Dak, have a laugh with CeeDee on the sideline. We could catch him joking around with Schottenheimer on the sideline. And all of this conversation that we're having right now is moot. That is absolutely possible. But there's another possibility. He might show up and none of those things might happen. He might show up and look off. He might show up and look a little bit behind where everybody else is right now. Maybe the timing with Dak isn't what it was last year or where it needs to be at this point in the offseason. Maybe he's throwing out some weird body language and everyone's going to analyze that. Maybe every rep that he throws out there becomes a mini referendum on how he treated this offseason. And that's the kind of stuff that happens when you miss the voluntary workouts, when you are as important of a piece to this team as George Pickens, as we think he is. You tend to create a vacuum. And in Dallas, with the Cowboys, that vacuum gets filled really, really fast. It gets filled with questions, shows like this, sports radio, debates, fan theories on social media, and everybody and their mother is trying to decode what all of this stuff means. Is he unhappy now that he didn't get his contract? Is he just training on his own? If he is that training enough? Is it the right kind of training? Is all of this nothing? Is all of this something? Is this just classic Cowboys overreaction? And the answer to all of those things might be yes. But here is the real edge to the story. Pickens has a chance to control the narrative starting June 16th. Tomorrow. That's the real first checkpoint. If he shows up, if he handles business, if he looks right, if he says the right things, then none of these things matter. This show doesn't matter. Nobody's going to listen to it after the fact. And that's fine. I hope that's the case. But if he doesn't show up, then everybody's going to listen to this show over and over again. And they're going to say, wow, Tim, you were right. And again, all of this could be nothing, but it will draw. If he is not there on Tuesday, that's where the questions will start. That's where the national attention will focus. And that's the kind of offseason drama the Cowboys absolutely do not need. For a team trying to build on a bounce-back season, the Cowboys cannot afford to have their wide receiver room become a distraction. Dak Prescott doesn't need that. Dak Prescott needs the rhythm. CeeDee Lamb doesn't need the distraction. He needs help. Brian Schottenheimer doesn't need the distraction. He needs all of his players buying in right now. That's the most important thing. That's the word, dependable. Everybody knows George Pickens can play football. Nobody is questioning his talent. Nobody is questioning his traits, his ability, his size, his hands, his body control, his downfield juice, his ability to catch a ball over a defender. We know he can be a problem for defensive backs every time he lines up. But the Cowboys don't need just those highlights. They need consistency. They need a receiver who can be where Dak expects him to be on every down, every play downfield. They need someone who can win in structure, not just win in chaos. They need someone who understands that being a star in Dallas and having that star on your helmet means that you're constantly under a microscope. And that's why these off-season moments matter even when they technically don't. Voluntary workouts are voluntary. Leadership is not. Trust is not. Chemistry is not. Being part of the foundation of the Cowboys is not. Pickens has every chance to quiet this whole thing. He can walk into mandatory minicamp, put in clean work, and remind everybody why the Cowboys are so intrigued by what this offense can become when he's a part of it. But until he does, the questions will remain. Where's George? And more importantly, when George gets back, will the Cowboys see a player who is truly showing the best version of himself? June 16th is nigh upon us, boys and girls. And remember, in Dallas, quiet never stays quiet for very long. That's going to do it for this Monday morning. We will be back tomorrow, but we'll be back before they take the field for mandatory minicamp. So as of the airtime tomorrow at 7 a.m., I won't have the answer. So I'll probably focus on something completely different. And then we'll talk about that potentially on Wednesday. I'm sure Wednesday will be a George Pickens heavy show. Appreciate everybody popping in here with us this morning. We'll do it again tomorrow. Until then, boys and girls, we'll see ya.